Howdy, folks. I'm Hangry Harvester, hungrily hunting helpless harvests.
I'm Amber.
And here are more helpless harvests for us to hunger upon and hunt upon. As butterflies, it's really easy to hunt. We just swoop down into the corn and then we eat it.
Actually, the harvesters are the carnivorous butterflies.
Oh, folks, we have some problems here. Apparently, I'm a carnivorous butterfly. Watch yourselves. Oh, and folks, if this is your first time viewing or you're a new subscriber, then welcome. This is a show where we teach you how to be the worst employee at your company for the next 20 minutes.
I mean, again, we don't teach that, but you could take that away.
Yes, let's get started. All right, folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Helping My, a 26-year-old female, male coworker, 40s male, with quote-unquote emotional labor after HR asked me to? Well, I work in a mid-sized tech company. I've worked there for 2 years. I'm in a non-managerial role, but I have a reputation for being organized and socially aware. Recently, one of my coworkers, Jake, was flagged in a company-wide review as having a poor team communication and creating a tense environment. He's great technically, but it was noticed that people avoid working with him. Well, after HR did a soft intervention, my manager asked if I could help mentor Jake a little bit, specifically to quote-unquote model emotional intelligence, as they said, and then to check in with him, like informally, to help him be more aware of how he comes off. Basically, they want me to do the emotional labor for him because I'm good at it. I said no, as I don't think that it's fair because I'm a woman and emotionally competent. I shouldn't be expected to guide a grown man who makes a lot more than me, can't read a room, and still do my own job. And I don't want to deal alone with his outbursts. I said that if he needs coaching, it should be from his manager or an actual coach, not me doing unpaid invisible work. Now I'm getting a bit of pushback. One colleague said that I could have helped make our team better. And that, using his words, is why women never get promoted. We don't know how to play the game. HR hasn't said anything officially, but I'm getting weird vibes. Am I the jerk for refusing to help? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, absolutely not the jerk. And that coworker, tell him that if he wants to volunteer his time to teach Jake the emotional stuff, he's more than welcome to. It is not reasonable for the company to expect you to take on more labor and unpaid labor. Like, this is the kind of thing that they need to bring in a coach for. Like, first of all, the idea that Jake is going to want to listen to a younger woman and take cues from her, and it sounds like he has outbursts, which, if those are like what I'm picturing, may not even be safe to be around. Like, this is not a good situation they're trying to put OP in. But also, they're trying to get away with like taking this underpaid, already like lesser paid employee and like have her do more work for free while also doing her own work. It's not a good situation.
I think that OP could turn this into a beneficial situation for themselves if they wanted to, right? And if they wanted to renegotiate their contract and say, well, if you're going to have me do emotional coaching, then I want a pay raise and I want to be able to do X, Y, and Z, right? And I need to have my own workload reduce a certain amount, right? If that's the kind of work that she enjoys. Now, it sounds like OP isn't interested in that. And that's a perfectly reasonable position to be at. They shouldn't be being punished at this point because they didn't want to do extra emotional labor, right? And I'm really concerned about this company and its attitude towards OP
Mm-hmm.
and the labor that they are already doing. It sounds like this would be collateral duty on top of their their work as is. And what happens if she starts falling behind in her work,
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, if this guy is verbally abusive to people or rude, that's not a good work environment. Maybe he needs to be let go. It doesn't matter if he's good at his job. If he's verbally abusive to people, then that's not a good place to be, right?
Right. But they definitely need to be putting someone who has more authority over him in that position if they're going to try and work things out.
Mm-hmm.
Putting someone with less authority on than him into this role and expecting him to just listen to them, does not seem like it would be a very good idea. And that's why they should have an external professional do this.
Yeah, I don't feel like they're really humanizing either OP or this guy. I feel like they kind of are treating both as like props that they can do whatever they want with. And I don't think that's a good company approach, right?
Right. Well, they're just seeing OP as oh, we can use her for emotional labor,
Yeah.
for this emotional intelligence, and like that's a skill people cultivate, and to treat it like it's again like they're not willing to compensate. They weren't like we're going to give you a pay raise to do this. There's no additional compensation. It's just more work on top of her workload. They're not value as much as they are saying this is important that you have this, they're not actually monetarily valuing it.
And, kind of to the point that I was getting to too, is that I don't think Jake wants to change, right? Is it Jake his name?
I think so.
I think that he likes working by himself. I think that, he's built up these walls and stuff like that. If he really enjoyed working with people and, collaborating and whatnot, then he would probably put more effort into being a collaborative type individual. I think he's comfortable. I don't think that he has any intention on being the collaborative type here, right? I think that they are, again, not treating him like a person and treating him more like they can fix him or change him and turn him into the perfect worker that they want him to be.
Well, it may be the point where he's not able to work with anyone, so they can't get projects done. But again, because if he's having outbursts every, day or every week or something, like that's not healthy.
Well, and that might speak larger to the working environment, right? Maybe there's some external stressors in his life that need to be addressed. And addressing those and, working with him might help to make him more of a pleasant individual, right? But if he feels overworked, then he's not going to want to put more work of this emotional intelligence stuff on his plate, right? And that's not fair to OP and it's not fair to him. So, yeah, I just think that's a bad situation all around.
Also, I want one last thing. I find it laughable, like very like, that's why women don't, the guy who was like, that's why women don't get promoted. Like, as if you have to do more free unpaid labor to get promoted. Like, how many guys are being asked to give their emotional intelligence? Like, why is it that women's skills that are, like traditionally depicted as feminine, not that all women have them, or that they are exclusively for women, but it tends to be that women in offices are expected to take on a lot of traditional female type jobs and do this unpaid labor. And when it should be like, because there are things that benefit the office as a whole, like, emotional intelligence and all this kind of other stuff. No, like companies need to value women's work and value women. Like the issue isn't that women aren't willing to be team players, it's that women are being exploited, and if you step back and say, no, I'm not going to be exploited, that makes you look like you're not a team player.
But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Glass Confusion 448 says, are you planning on moving into management roles in the future? And OP replies, not really. At least not in this company. The pay isn't that good, and I'm thinking about moving to a different country. And WTHJFG says, not the jerk. This is an inappropriate ask. HR should be handling any ongoing employee interactions. It's inappropriate for them to ask you to do this. You may want to start updating your resume and do some networking for a position outside of this company. And otherwise, Shelter 130 says, asking you to do emotional labor for someone else, especially when it's not even your role, is totally unfair. It might be a good idea to look at your options outside of this company. There are better environments where your time and energy will be respected. And Embarrassed Turn 361 says, absolutely not the jerk. 1, your manager is literally expecting you to babysit a middle-aged man as essentially unpaid overtime. You have no obligation to do that. Teaching an adult man how to be a decent human is not some random young coworker's job, it's his own. 2, you're right, coaching is something that a manager/supervisor should be doing. 3, the colleague who said, this is why women never get promoted, is a triple-decker garbage burger with soggy pickles. He can just go away. OP, you made the right call. Congratulations on standing up for yourself. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for not giving money to my coworker's GoFundMe after secretly finding out the reason behind her GoFundMe is a lie? Okay, I've heard a lot of ridiculous stories out there, But what I experienced today is ridiculous. So my coworker Allison, a 28-year-old female, recently set up a GoFundMe, which has been circulating around the office. The whole thing is about how she is struggling financially since having a baby 3 months ago and needs extra time off because little Ethan is colic and reflux, and she's out of paid leave. Everyone has been super sympathetic, but our company's parental leave policy is trash, to be honest. The fund has already raised like $2,800, and our boss even shared it on LinkedIn. Cringe, but whatever. I was literally about to transfer some money from my personal account when I overheard something that made me freeze. I was in the bathroom stall yesterday when she came in on her phone, clearly not realizing that anyone was in there. She was literally laughing about how she was going to use the money for a girls' trip to Canada next month. She was like, the baby's totally fine. My mom can watch him. I literally couldn't believe what I was hearing. I'm honestly shocked because people in our office really aren't exactly rolling in cash, and hearing that made me pretty angry. I haven't said anything to anyone yet, but during the meeting that we had yesterday, she said that she'll remember the ones who supported her during these rough times. Am I the jerk for not sending out a single dollar to her? Should I just expose her? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk for not donating to her. As for the exposing, like, I don't know what your workplace is like or how you would go about proving this. Like, you can report fraudulent GoFundMes, I believe.
Yeah.
So you might just be able to report it. But I don't know if, making a big thing in front of coworkers when all you have is the bathroom conversation, it becomes a, person A said, person B said at that point in time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult thing to prove, right? And I'm guessing that OP probably works in a place with not a lot of women. And the reason why the coworker didn't check the bathroom is because not a lot of women work there, or at least that's what I'm thinking. But it's a really weird thing to walk into a bathroom all evil, like evil villain, like, and start telling your master plan. Like, I just thought this was something that evil villains did. I didn't think that was actually monologuing your evil plans was something that actual people did in real life.
I mean, well, to be fair, we don't know a lot of evil people. It's not like we're hanging around them. So maybe evil villains in real life are like the evil villains in the movies.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like she was practicing her evil villain speech in the mirror in the bathroom here. I mean, what more obvious way to reveal your plans than that, right? I mean, she's a bad person if this is something that she's really doing. She's taking advantage of other people's kindness, and I think that OP has every right to expose her for what she's doing and who she is. She needs to basically, it needs to come to light that she's taking advantage of people and stealing people's money. And, I think that that's really what OP should do. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Bulbasaur Ranch says, donate $1 anonymously and use the message feature to write, I overheard your plans for an international girls trip next month. I know your baby isn't sick, and this is just a fund for your vacation. Also, you can report fraud to GoFundMe, and they can give the money back to people. And Tasty Hawk 2778 says, refunds should definitely happen. This is a crime of financial fraud, and they should be reported. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely fraud.
Mm-hmm.
And Junket4424 says, yeah, intentionally deceiving people into donating money for a purpose that is not genuine can indeed have legal ramifications. And Dry Shelter 869 says, depending on the amount of money involved and the local laws in the Philippines, it could be considered a form of theft that could be reported to local authorities. However, GoFundMe would be the first option to address the issue of fraudulent campaigns. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, I sabotaged my VP's life out of concern. How can I repair it and keep my job? Throwaway for obvious reasons. I'm a 38-year-old male, and I joined a new company recently and ended up working under a VP, a 40-year-old female, that I had been in love with for years. We had a good relationship at our last job, but I never told her how I felt. I found out through a Reddit post of all places that she had a boyfriend. It hit me hard. It hit her hard too. She was so hurt, but a common friend told me that she was going to go forward with him after talking it through. She really cared for him and thought that they could get through some of the things since they would have more time together now. And I think there's probably some missing information from this post. I'm imagining like he must have cheated or something like that.
Yeah, it's unclear what exactly transpired between them. I wasn't sure if he confessed feelings or what happened, but
When things in a relationship started to crack from the fallout, I saw my chance. I sent her a post that I wrote, hinting at my feelings, trying to comfort her. It backfired. She was furious, called it inappropriate, and warned me to keep things professional. She told me that she was disappointed, as it seemed to her that I had an ulterior motive for being a work friend the entire time that we knew each other. That should have been the end of it, but I couldn't let it go. I overheard a private phone call where she poured her heart out, saying that she thought that she loved him and just needed time to fix things. That's when I made the worst decision of my life. I manipulated mutual friends into playing doubts. I spun up the story. I pushed them to quote unquote help her see who he really was. We all worked together to keep pressure on it and to keep her so busy that she wouldn't have time to do anything. We did every trick, more than I want to say. Her friends were easily convinced that he was awful and terrible for her. It worked. She cracked. She had an anxiety attack, told one of them that she felt like she was going crazy from the pressure. Still, we didn't stop. I thought that I was saving her from a man who didn't deserve her, but really, I just wanted her to need me. Now the relationship is wrecked. She confided to a friend yesterday that it's over because the damage was done, and even though she wanted a different outcome, she had no idea how everything got so off track. She is devastated, and her friends, my co-conspirators, want to come clean. Once she finds out what we did, I'm done. Fired, maybe worse. I don't know how I let it get this far. I feel sick about it. I want to be her safe place, and instead I became the storm. I don't know if the boyfriend cared for her or not. I was thinking selfishly. But I became his storm also, unintentionally. I just didn't think outside of my desires here. How do you even begin to fix something like this? Is there any way that I can keep my job? I didn't really get any feedback from the previous post. I know I was wrong. I was acting from a place of love and concern at the time, and I just feel as if common friends should also take accountability, as we all did this together, and encourage this in each other. Being fired for this when it comes out from a place of caring and shared responsibility seems a bit extreme. All right, folks, what do you think of this story?
oh my goodness, OP. First of all, you need to stop lying. You did not do this out from a place of love and concern. You did this from a place of jealousy in wanting her. You did not see her as a person with her own autonomy. You say you didn't even know the boyfriend, so like you weren't trying to free her from an abusive situation or something, which like this would have been a terrible way to go about that. But like there wasn't even a good motive in there. It was just, I want this woman to be mine. I don't care how much I have to wreck her and her life to get her to be mine. And it's only because your life is now unraveling because your co-conspirators want to tell her the truth that you're even feeling anything. You are scared for your well-being, and you deserve to be fired. You really need to go into therapy and work on your jealousy and manipulation issues and stay far, far away from this woman.
Yeah, I mean, I think that sums it up pretty well. I think that OP needs to come to understand how terrible their actions are. Now, to some degree, it does sound like OP has come to that realization. What I suggest is that OP go into therapy. I think that there is a lot of room for personal growth here. Now, whether OP did this out of affection or out of pure selfish motivation is completely aside from the point. OP wrecked someone's life and was the instigator for that. Now, I know that they don't want to take full responsibility for this because they say that other people joined in as well, but OP is the one who organized this and orchestrated it. The leader of a group is the person who takes the responsibility. And whether OP, wants to acknowledge it or not, they are the leader of this group, right? They organized it, they pushed this, and they did a lot of things to make sure that this woman, had they manipulated the situation, right? And the thing is that they decided for another human being what their relationship should be, right? And they didn't allow the healing that needed to happen, and they, kind of made a bad situation worse. And I think that that deserves some kind of consequence. Like, I know that OP is asking, how do they fix this? You fix it by coming clean.
Right.
Right? Like, that's really what it boils down to. I know you don't like that. I know OP wouldn't like that answer, but the answer is to come clean, to admit and acknowledge what you've done, to apologize for it, and to accept the consequences of those actions.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you fix this situation, or you begin to fix this situation.
Right, because you can't undo all the harm you have caused to her. And you very likely will be fired. You certainly should not be in a position where you're working directly with her anymore, because she is going to need to heal and move on from all the damage you have wrought. And so I think Brian is absolutely right when he says that you need to own up. You need to fully acknowledge the harm that you have caused to her and admit it to her, and not try and throw the other people under the bus. It's fine to say you didn't act alone, but like, make sure you were the one who orchestrated this and planned it out, and you need to accept the ownership.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. But folks, let's see what the Wheel of Judgment has to say. Wheel of Judgment, turn, turn, turn. Tell us the judgment that OP's earned. You're the jerk like it's your full-time job.
Oh, I love it, Wheel. You're so spot on with this one. Great work pun in there.
Yes, very good, Wheel. You did a good job. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Which Maine town is most poetic?
Which Maine town is most poetic? Well, I would have to say the town where the poetry is made. That town. You know the one I'm talking about. It's on the tip of my tongue. The town with the poetry, Maine, is the town.
Limerick.
Oh, Limerick, Maine.
And today is National Limerick Day, so I have written a limerick for the occasion.
Oh, very good.
And if you want to join in, feel free to comment your own limericks in the comments. There is a website called Reddit. Maybe you've once or twice read it. Drama to the brim, oft her versus him. Those asking may come to dread it.
Ooh, very good. I like it. And I have Mega Mint. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Manic Monday, folks. I hope your Monday is off to a great start. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on how to be a good coworker or how to not lose your job.
To be a good coworker, it's important to not scam your coworkers, not get, explosive around your coworkers, and not manipulate and sabotage your coworkers' relationships.
And if you want to be Employee of the Year, make sure to defraud your coworkers while having emotional outbreaks and causing them all to lose their jobs.
Yeah,
then you'll be the only person left at the company, and you'll be the Employee of the Month.
That's bad advice. Do not take it.
Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.